Yep, it's on. It's on. Good evening. Good evening. Well, I know you're probably thinking today's gonna be Bible study, but we changing it up a little bit. We're having our Money Matters class 101, and we welcome you if you're joining us online. We also have the ability to be on Zoom. So if you want to join us via Zoom, the meeting ID is 691 774 9309. And then the passcode for this meeting is going to be 145679. Let me go ahead and repeat that for you. 691 774 9309 is the meeting ID, and the passcode is 145679. If somebody could please post that on our YouTube and go ahead and share that. Share that with somebody that you think would benefit from this budget class. Okay, so everybody who's here, make sure you have the large piece of paper because you're going to need that to make a visual for yourself for your budget. So my first question is, what is a budget? Somebody? Yes, a loose definition. What's a budget? Okay, so all the money you have coming in and all the expenses you have to pay. So if you want to save on money, you would have to increase what? Increase what or decrease what in order to be able to save money? Exactly. Increase your income or decrease your spending. So a common way to break down a budget is using the 50, 30, 20 rule. So everybody has that big piece of paper in front of you. Y'all should have brought a pen. Everybody got a pen? Up on the top of that paper, I want you to write 50, 30, 20 rule. 50, 30, 20. Everybody following along? Let me know if I'm going too fast. 50, 30, 20 on the top of that big old piece of paper you got. Mm-hmm. So 50% of your income should go to your needs. So 50 to the needs, 30 to the wants, and 20 to pay down your savings and repayment of debt. 50, 20, 30. Savings and debt. No, the red is going to be for your expenses. So write it in black. So 50% for needs. This category includes essential expenses that are necessary for survival and basic functioning. Common items in this category include what? What are your needs? What else? What else? Shoes. Uh, not is that a need? I mean, you got some already, right? You already got some though, right? So going forward, do you need to buy another pair of shoes? I mean, if you're a child, if you're a child and you're growing, I can see that. But if you're in your 30s and 40s, do you need another pair of shoes? Do you need another pair of shoes? No. It goes in the wants category, and that's that other 30%. So what's in the wants category besides that extra pair of shoes you want? Them wants, yep. My biggest weakness for wants is eating out. If I went back and looked at my bank statement as to much I went out eating, I'd have a nice little set of money. Hobbies, leisure, streaming services, vacations, all these things, non-essential gadgets, all these things are wants. That's that 30% category. Non-essential. Them Jordans, that Michael Kors purse, going to Papa Do's, all that. Starbucks, all that. All that's wants. All those wants. And then the last 20%, because we already accounted for the 80%, the last 20% goes into your savings and debt repayment. And this part of the budget is crucial for building financial security and achieving that long-term goal of having an emergency fund, retirement, maybe stocks and bonds, mutuals, being able to get credit cards, loans, all that type of stuff. Have you ever been one of those people who says, "Oh, I'm gonna save money," and you put it in a an envelope and you call that saving and you stick it somewhere, right? Okay. Is that really saving? I mean, you not spending it, but is it making any money for you? The same way when it comes to like taxes, right? At the end of the year, everybody looks forward to this refund. But what if you can go back and make it so that you don't necessarily get a refund? Would you be more comfortable with that? You're going to invest it. So then your money be making money as opposed to the government having your money interest free. Right? So say the through your job, you have it set up so that they take out $100 a week, $100 out of your paycheck, because some people get paid biweekly, some people get paid monthly. So let's just assume they take out $100 a month out of your check, and you have it set up so that they're your single three, and that's what they take out. So every year, routinely, you get a refund based off of how much you make and what bracket you fall into. So my recommendation is, rather than getting a refund where the government has your money for that whole year, you change your number of exemptions that you take so that they take out less out of your check, so you're able to invest that money or pay off bills with that money as opposed to the government having it. Make sense? Yes, restructuring. So that's another way of changing how much you bring home every pay period, and also makes it so that you don't get that refund at the end. I mean, you might still get a refund if you have different types of credits or something that you have coming in, but it won't be as high as it would had you been paying into the federal taxes. Make sense? Okay. So I believe everybody should have that Excel spreadsheet. And Charlie, I will get you a copy of the Excel spreadsheet. And if anybody else wants it, there are apps out there that you can use for budgeting. There are apps. Don't get me wrong, there's apps. But for me, in these apps, you got to put all your information. They want everything up front. The Excel spreadsheet that I use, it makes you more accountable if you stick to the spreadsheet. The app you can use once you become more proficient in your budget, and you have to actually put in like your checking accounts and the balances and all that kind of stuff. Then the app would be more beneficial to you. But for now, I think just getting started, that Excel spreadsheet would work great. So you got to figure out exactly what your take-home income is and list all your expenses. Right? Okay. Another part of saving is remembering to contribute to your savings. A lot of people, when it comes to budgeting, they get frustrated because, like for example, if you're working paycheck to paycheck, you're going to get frustrated if you don't see any growth, right, in your savings account. So make sure you pay yourself in your savings account. Does everybody know how much their savings account interest is right now? Do you know what your interest is? Anybody? What's your interest on your savings account? 0.03. Okay. So my next recommendation would be to search the internet for a bank that is giving you a high yield interest on your savings. And rather than putting money in a box or in an envelope in a book, you put the money into that high yield savings. Now there are some out there that will give you, you know, six months, I believe. A good one I saw online when I was doing a little bit of research was SoFi. They'll give you right now, I think it's 3.25% for 6 months. So the recommendation would be to put as much as you can into that savings account and let it draw interest at that 3.25. Does everybody know their credit score? Is it good, bad? You don't want to tell? You don't have credit? Fair. What's fair? Which is at what? 650? About 650? Okay. Do we know what the top is? What's the top? 850? 850. Did you say 312? Ooh, so bad credit and no credit are kind of the same because it's gonna take some finagling to get to a good credit, right? So the recommendation on your credit is to keep the balance under 50% of what the actual credit card limit is. So if your credit card limit is 5,000, you want to keep it under 2,005, and you want to pay it. Not only do you want to pay it on the pay date, but you want to pay it on the pay another payment on the closing date, paying the card off if you can do it. And then if you need money again, you kind of do the same, like recycle it. So, for example, say you charged, because you want to, in order to get your credit up, you want to use your credit card like a debit card. What's the difference between a credit card and a debit card? Is it their money? They didn't give it to you free though. And the interest rate right now is going about what? Right. It depends on what your credit look like. So if your credit is in the 400s, your interest rate is going to be in the 20s. And if your credit is in the 800s, your interest might be around the six or seven, around there, right? So the recommendation is to pay it off. Use your credit card like a debit card. Pay it off by the closing date. So say, for example, your credit card bill is due on the 14th, and the closing date is the 31st. So you pay partial payment on the 14th, and then before the 31st, you try and pay it off. If you pay it off or pay it down, even if you need to go back and charge something, when it's reported to the credit bureau, it's reported that it's under that amount you want it to be at. Okay? Question? Right. Closing date is the end of your billing cycle. So pay it off before that, that's the part that gets reported to the credit bureaus, which are, does everybody know what they are? What are they? Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, right? So keep an eye on your credit score. And then once you have had that credit card, so who doesn't have a credit card? Okay, if you don't have a credit card, my recommendation is that you reach out to the bank that you bank with and see if they have a credit card with your bank. And then that'll get you started. Now the amount, if you don't have any type of credit at all, the amount might be low, but that's okay. You work with that. Then after having the credit card for a minute, then you ask for an increase in your limit. Okay, let's see. Any questions so far? Okay, so the factors that are going to affect your credit score include your payment history, your credit utilization, how long you've had the credit card, the types of credit accounts, and the recent credit inquiries. Also, if you need the Excel spreadsheet, You can actually make it so that the page goes from month to month so that you can see your buffer. How much do we want to make sure we try and put into our buffer account? How many months would you suggest? Yes, at least 2 times the amount of your rent. And your rent normally is, you want to try and keep it so, have you ever heard the expression house poor? House poor is when people have like a high mortgage and then, they don't have anything else because they worry about trying to pay mortgage. Sometimes, depending on what you make, you might want to consider, instead of having that 4 or 5 bedroom house, downsizing. And that'll also assist you with getting to the next level. There are programs out there for first-time home buyers that can assist with home buying as well. Any questions? I know I'm going kind of fast. So, okay. It's a lot. Okay, hold on 1 second. There was something else I wanted to point out. Okay, let me go back to my. Okay, here it is. So, are there any questions about budgeting basics? We got the gist of it. We have income, we have expenses, we have savings, and we know we need to invest. Is there any questions about the basics? Yes, investing goes under the 20. So when you do the Excel spreadsheet, you'll be able to put your own numbers in there, and you'll be able to see how much actually goes over to the next month. Or if you need to cut back on maybe, not getting them nails done, or maybe not going out to eat, or however you need to finagle your budget, the Excel spreadsheet will assist you with that. Considered a want? Hold on 1 second. You got needs. Needs is 50. Wants is 30. Subscriptions you don't use. That gym membership, Netflix, all those non-essential. Um, the movies, going to the movies, concerts, all that kind of stuff. Those are all wants. You don't need cologne. You can use soap and water. Soap and water. Soap and water. I'm trying to help you out. All right. So, any questions on the budget basics? Okay. What about understanding and improving your credit score? Yes. So, improving it would be making sure that it stays under that 50% that you owe on the credit card. Once you have the credit card for a little bit, you can go ahead and increase the limit on it. Increasing the limit doesn't necessarily mean that you use all of the amount that's on there, because some people think when they got a credit card they got money, but that money, if you buy say a $20 sweater and then you don't pay the monthly payment, you skip a couple of payments or whatever, that sweater now becomes $30-$40 because the interest tacked on to it. So making sure that you actually pay that off. And then another thing is using credit cards to your advantage. Now, there are a lot of, what do you call them, promotional introductory offers out there. I'm sure you all get them in the mail, right? They say 0% for 12 months. You can actually use those credit cards to your advantage, but you got to be diligent in paying the money back. Now, an example of that is, all right, say you get say you get a in the mail, right? And it comes from Citibank, and they say we'll give you this credit card. Of course, it's based off your credit score, and it's based off of income when you go and do the application online or with your phone or whatever. They say they'll give you this credit card, 0% interest for 12 months. Now, this is going to require a little bit of math, y'all. 0% interest for 12 months. So they give you the card, for example, and they say, okay, your limit is $20,000, right? So you get the credit card, and you're like, ooh, $20,000. But now you have other stuff that you need to pay where the interest is, 15% here, 6% there, yada, 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 right? So you say, I'm going to make they money work for me. So you take that credit card where it's 0% interest for 12 months, and you say to yourself, I'm gonna do a cash advance for $10,000. Get $10,000. Now, this don't mean you get to go shopping, but you take $10,000 and you pay off all of the high interest credit cards. You pay off all the high interest credit cards, and that leaves you with, say, $5,000. So now all your other credit cards are paid off. You have $5,000. You put that $5,000 into the checking account that you use to pay your bills. And then the following month, because now that credit card is due, right? You pay the average. You take the 10,000 divided by 12. How much is that? 10,000 divided by 12. $850. So that's how much you send to that credit card. $850, because that $5,000 you didn't touch it. And since you don't have to pay them other bills that was at the higher interest, you still have money, right? Because we're not going, we're not acting foolish with it. We're still going to pay our bills. So you send $850 back to that credit card, because that's going to be your monthly payment every month. So now this one becomes one of those recurring bills, but you're not paying interest on this on this $10,000. So you're just giving them back their money. You're just giving them back their money, and then you can do that, and that helps to build your buffer, and it helps to build your credit. So that's a trick that you can use with the credit card. Mm-hmm. Okay. Any questions on credit cards? Now, don't go out and get a whole bunch of credit cards, get cash advances, and then don't pay it back, because then you're going to end up messing up everything. We don't want to do that. So in order to increase the score, you got to show consistency with the credits payments. So by paying it on time and paying it before the closing date, that will increase your credit score. And then holding on to the same credit cards for a longer period of time, not getting it and then not using it and then getting another one. You want to try and see if you can hold on to one for a long period of time, because that also looks better on your credit. If you've got the same credit card for the last 10 years, looks better than you having one card from last year, like that. The credit card companies, the reason why they have that higher interest on credit cards is because those people that with the higher interest, sometimes they don't expect to get their money back, or they're making money off of those people. The people with the lower interest, they're not making as much money. I mean, they're making some, but not as much money, because they're not taking a long period of time to pay the bill back, if that makes sense. Okay. All right. Another way to build wealth is investing. Does everybody here invest or no? Little bit of investing. We do. What do you do? Stocks and bonds. We do savings account. What's the norm? Some stocks. So with stocks, savings, bonds, and investing, it kind of depends on your comfort level. I mean, you can do investing where it's just strictly like savings bonds type investing, or you can do investing where it's more aggressive and you get a higher rate of return. So whatever your comfort level is, The key is to invest and keep doing like a recurring deposit into the account, and then as it grows, not necessarily put it in, pull it out, because you won't see a build over the long term. But if you put it in on a consistent basis, a payment where you kind of put it in there and forget about it and let it grow, that's how you'll build the wealth. I remember when I was in the military, I was a specialist, and so back then I would, times was tough, so I had to going from paycheck to paycheck, and so I was like, oh, this is for the birds. But I figured out, hey, if I just live off of this pay, I should be pretty good. So with each promotion that I got, until I was probably, I think by the time I was major, I kind of stepped it up a little bit. But between specialist and major, I was living off of specialist pay, and then just investing the other part, as opposed to, you know, just spending it and not having it work for me. So if you can kind of get yourself to a level where you're comfortable at with the money you're making, and then just invest it when you get a promotion and you have an extra, few $100s coming in per month, rather than spending that money, put that money into an investment or some other type of that's going to build for you, rather than be gone in 30 days. I mean, the interest on a high yield savings account can be, if you're going to put it there and leave it, but the interest is only going to be around the 3-4%. If you invest it in stocks, or if you in something that's more aggressive, the interest on it will be higher than that amount. But by all means, that 3.25% on a high yield is better than the standard savings account right now that's only about 0.25% or less in some cases. And then those savings account turn around and charge you service fees, $10 here, $3 there, that sort of thing. So you're really not saving any money, because they keep taking your money every month. They keep taking those service fees. Okay. So we went over using your credit card to your advantage. We talked about investing. Let's talk about home buying. Okay, so home buying. There are a lot of programs out there for first-time home buyers that will assist you in like your closing costs and all this kind of stuff. I would recommend, if you are a first-time home buyer, that you buy a multifamily for the first time. And then that way, the mortgage, the people that are going to be living on the other side are actually paying your mortgage, and you're building on that, and you're building wealth off of them paying your mortgage. And the money that you would normally pay for rent, turn around and invest that. Unless, of course, your first time home purchase is going to be like your dream home and you don't plan on ever moving, then by all means, that's a different story. But if you're one of those people where, well, I just want this for now, and then later on I'll get this, a multifamily will have a greater return on investment than buying a single family home, if it makes sense. And then also, fixer-uppers are a really good value going these days too, and you can make it your own. So you might, for example, I saw this really good house on the internet. Now they wanted 400-something thousand for it, and when you think of that, you'd be like, ooh. But it was on 3 acres of land. The neighborhood around it is growing to the point where there's a whole bunch of subdivisions around it, and investing in something like that, I think, if I had the money, I would do it. I think 5 years from now, that same property, the house may still be there, but the lot might be smaller, and I think they would have sold off the surrounding land around that house to the developers that are coming in, all of the subdivisions. Because you really don't only need, one acre for your house if you want to have a big house and a nice big yard. 1 acre is more than enough. The other 2 acres, you could turn around and sell it to the developers. They're going to put in their HOAs, and they're going to pay you a pretty good price for it, because of the way that it's expanding. It's just my thought. So if you're thinking about purchasing a home, That would be my recommendation. The other thing is when you do purchase a home, the first year you purchase it, they'll tell you, hey, this is your house payment, and they'll say, for example, your house payment is $1,250, and you're like, oh, okay, it's $1,250. I like that. I can do that. So you're paying your mortgage. Everything is going good, and then next year you get a bill starting that month after you bought the house, and now all of a sudden it's $1,450. Why is that? Taxes. Taxes. Now, unfortunately, they don't tell you that, hey, that after the first year you buy a house, the second year your payment could increase, and that's normally why it increases. It'll increase because of taxes, and it'll increase because of one other thing possibly. What is it? The insurance. Yep. So the insurance could go up, and the taxes can go up, right? Because now all of a sudden a whole bunch of people are moving in there. The taxes in the surrounding area, everybody's taxes went up. Yours went up as well. So now your payment is higher by about $200 or so. So your insurance, most people have their insurance paid through their mortgage. So it's incorporated into the mortgage. So your mortgage normally will be the principal, the interest, uh, the insurance, principal, insurance, sorry, and taxes, and taxes. So those are the items that are going to be on your mortgage. The other thing I would recommend, if possible, in buying a house is don't go with the 30-year mortgage. Try and get a 15-year mortgage. Does anybody know why? It's the interest that you're paying. So on a 30-year mortgage, you're paying probably twice as much interest as you would on a 15-year mortgage. That's just like there was this gentleman who y'all might know. He's high up there. He was suggesting a 50-year mortgage. Now, on a 50-year mortgage, by the time you pay that off, if you live long enough, by the time you pay that off, you would have paid for your house probably 3 times. 3 times. So the suggestion is to go with a 15-year mortgage as opposed to a 30-year mortgage. Okay? Because on a 15-year mortgage, the principal and the interest that you're paying, it tends to go more this way, more horizontal, because you're paying about the same on interest and on principal. On a 30-year, you're paying more of the interest at the beginning and less of the principal, and it goes down. So you can either go this way or you can go this way. On a 30-year, you're giving them, because they're going to get their interest first. They want it up front. They're going to get their interest first, and then the principal is going to start to go down. On a 15-year, it goes across this way. Another suggestion for home buying is that the payment be bi-weekly as opposed to monthly. So they're going to take that monthly amount and they're going to cut it in half and make it bi-weekly. Why is that, you think? Yes, 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 yes. So if you're in a 30-year mortgage and you do the bi-weekly, you can cut your mortgage down by about 7 years. Really. So doing it bi-weekly, it's the same amount as bi-weekly. Now, because some months have 5 weeks in them, you got to make sure you're accounting for that. But bi-weekly will have it paid down faster as well. Mm-hmm. Now, most of the time when you're doing it online, the and you're like in the system paying it, it'll tell you how much it is if you want to pay it monthly or if you want to pay it bi-weekly. They'll break it down for you. But if you were to add up bi-weekly, it's normally the same as the monthly. It's just cut in half. Yeah. Right. And then you're also doing like an extra payment because some months have 5 weeks as opposed to 4. So by the end of the year, you would have paid a little bit more. And then at the end of the year, because you're paying more, there's something that they do to your mortgage. What is it called? I'm having a loss for words. Not the escrow. Yeah, they do an escrow. I'm sorry, they do. They do an escrow analysis of your mortgage, right, to determine how much the following year your payment should be. Now, if you've made additional payments or if you've done it bi-weekly as opposed to monthly, you have the potential of having your payment then go down quicker. And so then that following year, instead of it being 1450, drops down to 1250 because of the extra payments. So because you're making the bi bi-weekly payments as opposed to a monthly payment, by the time that year is up and they turn around and do another escrow analysis, because they do an escrow analysis every year because your interest and your taxes could change, right? So they have to adjust the mortgage that you're going to be paying every year. So if you went from paying monthly to paying bi-weekly, now, just like your insurance or your taxes went up, your principal has gone down, so that can adjust your payment, your required monthly payment down as opposed to up. Yes. Yep. Mm, any questions? I know it's a lot. Hold on one second. Go ahead with with your question. So that's if people are getting paid weekly, or if you have more than one type of um, income. Like for example, you got your job, you do Uber, you selling some ugly duckling products. You know, the different streams of income that you have coming in, you would put under those, and then those would be added up to give you a gross amount that you make per month. Oh, there was another thing I wanted to mention about taxes. So if you are an independent contractor, you want to ensure that you're paying into and you want to be able to increase the amount that you receive for Social Security when you retire. You have to be paying into Social Security. So if you're not paying into Social Security, which hopefully will still be around when we retire, if you're not paying into Social Security, the amount that you would be receiving on the end would be less than what you could expect. And so if you're an independent contractor, and they say ministers fall up under this category, you need to be paying into Social Security, and I think the percent currently is like around 12%, 13% of what you make into Social Security. Yeah, for independent contractors. But if you're an independent contractor, make sure you write off all the stuff associated with the business. You know, phones, cars, if you're using your car as advertising, all that stuff can be written off on your taxes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Can you see anybody? Is that on there asking questions? Okay. Anybody online got questions? Charlie, Charlie, you got any questions? He probably like, why you put me on blast? Okay, I don't hear anything. Okay. So my nephew was going to discuss. Let's see if he's on here. Give me 1 second, folks. 1 second. Okay, I am not one. What is it called? Crypto? Oh, I'm sorry, Bitcoin. Is he not there? Okay. All right. Well, it looks like we might have to get a rain check on the Bitcoin portion. Hold on 1 second. He said he's waiting for us. Log on to this. Okay. There's a garbage character. He said he was. Oh, here he is. Okay. All right, Kareem. I see your ceiling. Hey, how you doing? Okay. So I don't know a lot about Bitcoin, so I zoomed my nephew. Turned around. My daughter here is going to assist me with putting the camera on him, and he'll be able to talk Bitcoin. So Kareem, if you could, can you explain to us um, what Bitcoin is and how it works, and what your recommendation would be um, for getting into possibly trading Bitcoin or not, and what are the risks? Okay, so what platform do you use for crypto? Oh, when it goes up? Do you track your Bitcoin daily on a daily basis? Has there ever been a point where you put money in, and then when it lost some and it gained some back, you kind of take out what you initially invested and then just kind of work with their money? Is that also okay? Do you also invest in the stock market as well? Okay, what type of app or platform do you use? Do you use like Fidelity, Schwab? What type of platform do you use for that? Webull. Is there a reason why you choose that one? Okay, can you say what they were again? Can you say what they were again? Okay, Moo. Webull and Moo for stock. Oh, bull. See, I was spelling that wrong. Okay, thank you for that clarification. Um, and what's the second one? Moo. Moo. Okay. Okay. Where will you see that the slope is actually negative when it comes to the different types of Bitcoin? Does it give you a graph? So you know what the status has been for that Bitcoin over the life of the Bitcoin, pretty much. Okay. Any more questions? You about to look at Bitcoin too? Now this you have to do your research. Google some stuff and look up some stuff and see how it's been going. This is not to say, hey, just throw all your money in there, you're gonna make some money. That's not the case. With the case with investing, everything is a risk, which is why I said you have to have a certain comfort level when it comes to investing. Do you want to stick with the savings bonds? Do you want to stick with the stuff that's been, kind of steadily growing, or do you want to do with the ones that, a little bit more volatile? And those tend to have a certain ebb and flow to it. So it might come down, but you can't be wanting to, oh, my money went down, let me go ahead and pull it out. You need to leave it in there. Maybe invest when you see it go down, so that when it goes back up, you make your money back plus some, because now you done invested a little bit more. That's why they say you should try and make like monthly contributions to some type of an investment fund or however you have it set up. I've been hearing on, so you know how stuff shows up on Facebook, talking about Bitcoin as it relates to um, some of these oil companies and stuff like that. Have you heard anything about that? Okay. So that once again, that's something. What is that? Okay. Okay. Are there any questions on no? Which Bitcoin to purchase? Yeah, because you're gonna lose. Yeah, which is why I can't do it. I don't do that. I think he's the one I saw on my Facebook page. On point. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Now, if anybody wants any additional assistance, I'll have my number. Y'all can give me a call. If you don't leave something on, if you don't have my number, leave a message on the tab website, and I will answer your question as soon as possible. Okay. All right. All right. Oh, one other thing. If you are getting a refund, go ahead and file your taxes now. Otherwise, you're just giving the government your money for free for the next few months. If you know you're going to owe money, go ahead and wait until April 15th. File them taxes on April 15th so that way you can go ahead and pay them what you owe them. But if you think you're getting a refund, my recommendation is to go ahead and file your taxes now and get your refund. And let's start investing. Any more questions? What do you mean? Well, I guess it would depend on what it is you're trying to get. So, for example, say if you wanted to get into the real estate business, right? And you wanted to um, provide housing to veterans, you could go ahead and either rent a place, purchase a place, and then that mortgage, say it was $1,800, but it has 4 bedrooms. Each bedroom get 2 grand for. That's 8 grand minus the 2 grand. Now you make 6 grand off the house just by providing it as. Now that's kind of generic. There's other stuff to it, right? Um, but you have that income coming in, and then you turn around, and once you have the first house, and if it has equity in it, turn around, possibly get a HELOC or do some type of refinancing to turn around and then do it again. And then by that point, the houses are paying for themselves. You'll make more money renting off a multifamily than you would a single family, obviously, right? Because now you have more apartments or places for people to stay. A single family, if you're just renting it to another family, they're just paying your mortgage. Not necessarily any additional income coming in. So the recommendation for that would be to invest in a multifamily or a house that you plan on renting out, possibly the rooms, as opposed to the house just to a single family, if that makes sense. Okay. Any other questions? Well, I hope this was beneficial, and we'll try and do this again. There was a few people that was going to come, but they got sick or other things happen. You know, life happens, right? It's lifing. Hopefully they'll go back and watch the video and take some nuggets for it from me. If there's any questions, please, please, please put your questions under this flyer, and I will try and answer your questions as soon as possible. So if there's any questions, please do that, and I'll try and take care of that for you. And then the next one, what would y'all like to see for the next class? Or is this class enough? Y'all good? Break down credit. Okay, we can break down credit. Yeah, this was kind of a 101 and overall. Okay. Okay. I actually have the Excel spreadsheet, so if I haven't emailed it to you already, if you provide me with your email address, I will send you a copy of the Excel spreadsheet. There are formulas in it already, and then there's places where you have to put your specific dollar amount that you have coming in, and then there's formulas. I have it set up for me. Don't judge me. I have it 5 years out. You can have it, for as long as you want to have it. You can shorten it. The reason why I like doing it with an Excel spreadsheet is because you can change it, and it keeps you more accountable. If you're spending, and also I don't keep cash. Everything that I do is with a credit card. Now, when I say that, that doesn't mean my credit cards the balances are up here. I will use the credit card as a debit card, right? We've already established what the debit card is, right? So if I'm using a credit card like a debit card, by the time the bill is due, I pay the card. But I'm also getting points because a lot of the credit cards have rewards, right? Right? And so then I turn around and use the rewards as a payment. So there'll be like a $40 payment from the rewards. Various cards actually come with benefits, like Costco's will, for using their card, they'll send you a certificate at the end of the year, and depending on how much you spent, you get a certificate. I was telling Dominique, we got one coming for a couple $100. We're gonna go to Costco's and spend that couple $100 of day money, right? Just because you have rewards. So if there's ever a way that you can, I'm not a couponer. I guess couponing can be a way of saving some money. I'm not really a couponer unless I'm in the store and I see the coupon at the store. But so there's you can do coupons, you can do the rewards off your credit cards. There's certain ways that you can do, like for example here, a sidebar for Texas folks. Here, if you get the Circle K app, your first 5 fill-ups is 25 cents off per fill-up. And then they have certain Fridays where they give you 40 cents off for fill-up. So, I mean, there's little ways you can kind of, save a little bit of money. But like I said before, my weakness is eating out. With my little job that I started, I think I spend $15, $20 a day on food. So lately I've been trying to take my lunch instead of, buying lunch at the where I work at. It's sad when the coffee shop see me, hey, Miss Dawn. they know your name. It's sad when they know your name. They see you coming. That's my weakness is eating out. So just little nuggets to kind of help. So next time we'll try and do something more specific. It won't be as general as Money Matters 101. It'll be more specific, whether it be first time home ownership, or setting up your business, or what banks to get as far as um, the interest rate and stuff like that, it'll be more focused. I guess is the word I'm looking for. And like I said, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them on the feed for the YouTube, and I will answer those. Bishop, did you want to say something? Hold on one second.
I think we should do this again, and I think that doing something like this at bare minimum quarterly is beneficial. Even perhaps getting us to the place where we evolve it. Um, I'm kind of speaking for you, but hopefully getting it to the place where we can evolve it to where there are some sort of or levels of checks and balances, um, uh, an investment group, not just the examples of budgets, but putting the budgets together and then having, if not presenting them publicly, but at least some sort of accountability to it so that we can begin to see the necessary advancements. Um, One of the things that I believe this is an advantage because, or can be an advantage because, if we're honest, most of our parents taught us how to, uh, just taught us how to survive and not necessarily how to thrive and take the steps to be different and do some things differently so that the longevity of our life is comfortable. So um, I'd really, first of all, I appreciate this. Um, wasn't looking forward to it. I remember I told you I don't want to do it, but I'm gonna do it. Um, but in all seriousness, we appreciate the challenge. Um, not just living for today, but living for tomorrow, living for 3 years down the line. So I think that if we can, um, figure out some sort of a system, this is something that, as a church, as a culture, as a people, that we offer those who may need help. You know, the African American church, the majority of the congregants in the African American church are single parents. And so, in them being single parents, sometimes this is a benefit for them that can really take levels of stress away. So, um, I enjoyed it, and I'm sure Pastor Lynn will have a praise report for you here soon. I'm sure she will. Sure, Dominique, come on, pray us out.